I gotta work. I gotta work. I'm gonna like try to work on like an intro to our thing.
I know. We gotta get like we gotta ask some of our maybe our TikTok friends can help us make something
That would be awesome. You know,
because
for
that's where my skills end.
maybe
Go ahead.
like we should do something like a video or even talk about it where like have people send in like their their best videos and we can just use the best one as our intro. Or we could use a different one like every week. If we had enough of them. I don't know if people would send enough, but
I like that we're aiming for the stars here. Let's aim high. Let me know.
beautiful.
Oh yeah, you're not in on TikTok yet.
I am live on Twitch though right now.
Yeah, me too.
Sweet.
Get in there on TikTok if you want to
Yep.
join with me. Pat Lynch is here. What's up, buddy?
Actually, I can probably we can like guest host now. All right, I'm in.
I haven't had any coffee today. That was the mistake because
I
I'm
have,
still like
I
on
have
the
my coffee
fritz.
with me. Yeah, how are you feeling by the way?
Oh my god, I just got like mystery food poisoning. It's fine. I won't share it with the wider group here, but if I'm a little bit lackluster, that's where it's coming from. I feel like you and I are both this hopefully this like peps up our energy. This let us like bring good energy to each other right now because I feel
I
like we're both coming in a little bit like ugh.
yeah.
It's like the internet's been beating the shit out of both of us.
I mean, this is the life of having a take. This and I think like there is some danger. Me and you have talked about. Wait, is our share chat on? I don't see the.
Oh no, let me do that.
Oh, perfect.
There we go.
Do it one more time. Sorry, maybe.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Yeah. So shit. What was? It? Yeah, I'm that
Just
messed up.
the internet's, like, beating
Yeah,
us today.
yeah.
It's
It's one of those
draining the life
things.
out of our souls a little bit.
For sure. I saw your video too, which we should play your video. I think it's more insane that your video is getting the shit that my video is like it's sketchy, right? Like because it's like it comes off for this people that don't know they're like man's, defending a Yahtzee tattoo, but yours is like so it's like low hanging fruit, and people are like upset. It's so crazy. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we get into the specifics of them a little bit later after we've been going for a bit because I think they both open up good conversations. Like, I think I posted a video, basically we'll pull it up a little bit later, or you can look at my TikTok now, but I basically posted a video because the context of which was my husband was literally pulling into the driveway with my kid, and I just had this thought where I was, like, walking around my house and thinking about the SNAP stuff that's coming up, and thinking about how many people I know in my life that have very cushy jobs,
And thinking
and
about
they're
how
not
many people
rich
I know in
people,
my
but they're
life that have very cushy
you just
jobs.
left TikTok.
And
Aria,
So sorry.
there you are, hold on.
No, continue, continue. I don't want to interrupt your story. This is less important.
No, I know, but it's let me just get you back in here before I forget about it.
All right, sounds good.
Um, so the context of the video that people are mad at me about is that my husband like was literally pulling in the driveway with my kid, and I was like about to like shift back into parenting mode, but I was just thinking about how many people I know in my life and like that I come into contact with or that I see online that like are living very normal lives still and and have lives that are largely unimpacted by like what's happening around us. And I'm not talking to and anyway, all that to say, that's kind of what I was thinking about is like how many of us are just walking around the world like unimpacted by what's going on. And it's a lot of my peers in corporate America. And so I put out a video that was like, if you work in corporate America right now and you have a steady paycheck, you should be donating a lot of that money as much as you can to mutual aid and to food pantries That was my take that I'm getting ripped apart for, okay? That's
It's
you were
like
you not to victim blame, Aria, but you were asking for it a little bit. Uh, but you know what I mean? Like people like it was just funny, and so I posted it, and then I think a lot of people saw it that like just are not familiar with my content in general, and were like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Okay, like fuck off." Like I am actually like, but I'm not going to play this game where I'm like pulling out receipts to make some like anonymous person on the internet happy. But it was interesting just and we'll get into it. Let's, maybe get into it a little bit more later, but it's just it was I think people get very defensive right now. I think people are getting scared. And I kind of think that's like the feels like one of the themes for me of what's happening right now is I think people are getting really people who haven't been paying attention are starting to pay attention and are getting scared. So the
yeah,
vibes are tough.
I was covering my face because I have the PTSD of like just again, and the way social media works too is like someone will just randomly see a fucking video and then just not have any context, not choose to go look for any context, just react to the out of context video that might say something that is like egregious, something like that. And for me, or again, going back to what you said, like providing receipts to who you are, that is a constant trigger point for me where it's like there are people who for example, I mean, we don't talk I was talking about Graham Plattner. There are people that are coming into the comment sections that have watched Indiana Jones twice and are now symbology experts, you know what I'm saying? And like there are things like that like really truly just bug me. And I don't, what am I supposed to do? Like show you my fucking degrees? You want my degrees and like you want like the theses that I've written? I've literally studied this shit, you know? And but it's like my opinion doesn't matter at all. It's like my opinion matters less than someone who has say 100,000 followers that has watched Indiana Jones twice and is now a symbology expert. That's all I'm saying. And that's the life of the internet, and it's a trigger for me because I am a fucking nerd. Like that's the thing that people don't know about. I am a fucking nerd. I might come off as someone who's just a brash talker, but I am a fucking nerd. I like learning. It's not like something that, and I don't lie about things to make myself feel more like morally, if I don't know the answer, I don't know the answer and I want to have a conversation about it. But yeah, if this is something we could talk about. I mean, we live in these spaces online now, a little bit, and when this is kind of we are doing our own agents of change here. It's not like we aren't on the ground either, but we are very there's a spotlight on people who are speaking online, and the internet is a battleground. Like I'm telling people, this is the battleground. This is we as much as you hate it, you're a soldier in in this informational war that we're in. And you are an unwitting, like it's not by consent that you're a soldier, but you are in the battleground, and it is a constant. And before, where you thought it was just your ideological enemies feeding you lies, a lot of the times it's allies now that you have to be careful of. You have to constantly beware of like both sides now, and it's scary. But yeah, I mean, just to speak to your experience on the internet too, it's not fun all the time, you know.
No, it definitely gets intense, and I think that, like, you and I talked about this a little bit this weekend where I was like, "You gotta take" I was like, "Sometimes you have to step away because it's like it just gets really intense." And because we share what we do, I think, online because we've seen that it can make an impact and we know that it makes an impact and we know that what people consume online can translate into actions that they take in real life. So that's why we do this. It's not like we're doing it. The reason I'm very transparent about the fact I make no fucking money on here anymore is because I think it's important. Like I'm not doing this to profit off of it. Like we're doing this because we've seen it make an impact. And so we're continuing to try to do what we can with the tools that we have. That's what I keep saying. So anyway, it's like we have to kind of manage our own relationships with it. And I think everybody watching too has to manage their own relationships with it because there's like I feel like we have to find a way to like engage with social media and engage with those narratives and correct those narratives and set our own narratives right now. We have to find a way to do that without kind of like draining our soul a little bit. Like right when you joined, you were like, I feel like I got beat up this week because I've just been like kind of going back and forth with people. And I've ultimately like made the decision that like today I did today I'm probably drained because I did let myself get sucked in because I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is going on? And it like anyway, well, we can talk about the specifics of it later, but, like, I think that's a big that's something that we're all kind of having to examine is, like, our own relationship with these social media sites and, like, where we can make the most impact and also, like, not, like, make ourselves extremely depressed and sad. Um, so, yeah, I think we both kind of had a hot weekend on the internet.
Say the
Did you
least. Yeah.
anything else you wanna anything else that happened in going on with you this weekend that you wanna talk about? I'm trying to pull back up our Twitch stream, hold on.
Um,
There we go.
Nothing. I mean, nothing crazy. I mean, I think that's the big thing. I think there are some other stories, obviously, going around that is very. And again, you talked about being scared. I think the snap cuts are coming. They're right. We're looking down the barrel now, and excuse me. I think uh and I hate to say it like this, but I do think that we are still in a period of time where people do not know what's looking right at them. If you have time, and I'm not a fear monger here, but like there are dozens of, there are lots of research and studies out there where they talk about how quickly society would like dissolve without food, for example, or access to food. And you're talking like 3 days to 6 days, you're talking 9 meals to 18 meals before society starts seeing things that it isn't used to, that you have only read about in history book, and you've only learned about in school. And I think, again, I'm talking about an extreme version of this history. Obviously, like it something could come down the line. It's, there tends to be like emergency legislation in moments like these when they see what's about to happen. But I don't know, with this current government, I do believe cruelty is kind of part of the policy, is ingrained into the policy, even when it's affecting your own electorate. And I feel like their electorate is slowly going to find this out. But I feel like there's something deeper to talk about here, which is Republicans eat food too, and a lot of them are on Snap. And I have always been the person saying, if you think ICE is an immigration force, I have a fucking bridge to sell you. You know what I'm saying? If you think ICE is not a force to beat both Republicans and Democrats into obedience as soon as you start feeling things like hunger, you start seeing the grocery store aisles disappear, your day-to-day life gets more difficult and more difficult, and then you are coming out of this fever dream you've been in, and you're like, shit, I can't afford rent. Those soldiers are also going to be used on you. There's no VIP section in fascism. And I think that's the thing that I want to tell people, without going on too much of a tangent, that, like, again, I know people think based on my past videos I might be some type of Nazi defender at this point, but I'm telling you that, like, there is no VIP section in fascism. Your votes don't matter. They don't care what you identify as. That's the whole point. Like, you're not on the team. None of us are. And that's the thing that I really want to get out to people, I think, in this coming week, that we are looking down the barrel of a gun.
I think it has felt for a long time like a lot of people in the world are sort of sleepwalking around what's happening and are just I think people who are not engaged in politics in any way are just kind of hoping that it won't have any impact on them, and I think that that's kind of where we're getting to that point now. To your point, is it's like it's not even just the MAGA folks, right? It's the people who have remained. I'm actually more interested in the folks who've remained disengaged and the people who don't think that it applies to them or think, well, I have a good job, I'm secure, I've got my money in my 401k. This won't impact me. But we are all one medical emergency away from like losing everything we have. Right? There is in the United States, like none of us in this class of people, right? None of us in this working class of people are safe. And so even if you are somebody who is on the upper end of that middle class and has never had to worry about feeding yourself, things might change. And so I think for a long time, people like us have been waving that flag in various ways and saying like this is going to get really bad. Um, and people have just wanted to disengaged from that. And so I think that that is now why people are getting scared. Is a lot of these folks are realizing that, exactly to your point, we're talking about SNAP, but we're not just talking about SNAP recipients. All of this stuff is like connected and will continue to spiral. And so I think the gravity of that is important, and that's why I'm personally trying to push this message of mutual aid, because in the most immediate sense, like, that's all we have. All we have is each other and people in our community to rely on. And so many people will say, in my comments, I was having this conversation and people are like, well, the people in my community suck. And it's just like, that is such, it just that makes me sad, and that's where I kind of feel my soul getting sapped out of my body, is because I'm like, we have to look out for each other. Like, we literally have no option. There are people on your street that need help. There are people in your building that are gonna need help. And we just that's all we can do right now. None of us knows what's gonna play out in 6 months. No one knows where we're gonna be, uh, in a year, but I do know that we're gonna need to help feed our communities. And so, like, get linked in to your mutual aid, get connected with your local food banks, and do whatever you can. If it's not money, that's fine. There's other ways to support. So that's kind of where I'm at heading into the week.
And the hope I gain is absolutely from locality. You know, like I'm like the internet is designed to get us to crash the fuck out and to like keep coming back and like responding to people. And that's why like we don't even know, without getting deep into like dead internet theory and stuff, like how many of these are real people. And what do I mean by real
Mhm.
people? I'm not even talking about like a real physical person. Like there are literal troll farms in Russia with thousands and thousands of middle-aged men and young men who don't have the same job opportunities we have in the West, and they pay them decent money to sit behind a computer and shit post. That's literally what they get paid to do, like in a nutshell. I know this might come off as crazy to some people, but like us that live on the internet, we know how these things work. We are constantly like, and that's the stress of it, right? But when I disconnect from that for a minute and I talk to people like you, I talk to people like David, my godfather, my political godfather, and like people like Bridget and like just local people that are, that I see every day, like my candidates. um it makes me realize that I'm not crazy. I'm not being gaslit. There are people that care, have the same humanity that I do still. And I do truly believe in, what got me off the whole Twitter shitpost phase of my life was realizing that like I felt so helpless on a macro level. Like on a national level, I do feel so helpless when I'm watching some of these videos because what's happening in LA is not what's happening on the streets of New Hampshire, right? Like I have maybe seen a handful of ice in my area in individual times. It's not a fucking war zone out here. I know it is in other places that are high density and the cameras are there. So when I'm watching these things, I'm not disconnected. I know what's happening. I lived in LA for 5 years. I lived in Boston for 10 years. I know you lived in Boston too. So I know what those streets would look like with military running down them. It's not, we can't imagine that out here. So I do feel helpless. But then I think if I can just change the street outside, I have potholes on my street outside. I mean, I almost mess up my car all the time, and I'm like, what if I just push my town, get that pothole fixed? And there's two things going on here. There's two things that happen here when you do that. The first one is like it always feels good to be working towards something physically, even more than just words. They always say you need something to wake up for. Wake up for the fucking
Mhm.
pothole. Someone's got to fill that pothole. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't get filled on its own. When it does get filled, it's because someone paid attention to the pothole, right? So the other part is once you fix the pothole, the sky is the fucking limit for you. You know what I'm saying? Like all it takes is one
I love that.
pothole, and then this you're like, okay, well maybe I will change the fucking federal government and you will have a new drive behind you. And seriously, that's how it worked for me. I know it worked for other people that way too. Like just one little example, Seth Moulton. You guys have heard of Seth Moulton in Massachusetts. He's one of the guys that is recently agreed to give up all his APAC money to pay it back. I have a cousin who was never really fully politically active, but she was part of the group that was putting pressure on Seth Moulton. Like, because we talked about APAC, we would talk about, and she's not like, you know, she's not like the leader organizer, but she shows up to the meetings and she's signs petitions and she's there. And when he decides to put out a tweet saying, you know what, I am refunding all that, you have no idea what that does to her. I know because she tells me, right, right? But like she feels like she is part of the ownership of that. And that's all it takes. It's just like one, and then you get addicted to it. And now you're like, well, maybe I can change the fucking world. And maybe you can.
I love that. And I think that's so important and is a huge part of why, like, you and I both, I know, you know, you've expressed this as well, like why we've been focusing so much on local, not just local politics, but what's happening locally, because we do have so much power when it comes to what's happening. We have so much power when it comes to what's happening around us very locally. I also feel helpless on a federal level. I think most of us do. And truly, like, there is very little that we can do on that scale right now when we're looking at like the images of the White House being knocked down and stuff like that. It really, like, that, I think, that, not as an aside, like I think that image will look back in the history books as something that woke people up. Like I think that scared the shit out of people, seeing the videos of the East Wing getting taken down. But regardless, we see that stuff happening, and it hurts and we feel it and we feel scared and we feel stressed, but there's not a whole lot we can do about it. But then what we can do is go to our food pantry that's down the road from our house, and we can spend an hour with the old ladies helping move boxes around and helping sort cereal boxes. And then even just doing that, to your point, like it activates something in us that says, like, the little like hope button inside of us that's like, we can actually like do this together. We can all support each other together. Who knows what's going to happen with the United States of America after all of this, right? Like I'm personally of the belief that like once a government dips its toe into authoritarianism this deep, you don't just go back to normal. And I think that that's true, but I think we all decide how we're going to rebuild from this. And I think that work starts now. And that work starts today with people like us, with our people like a lot of the folks that we talk to on our, you know, in our social media communities. And those are the people that are like inspiring us to continue to find new ways to do this work, because we're all each other's got, you know. And so I think there's something that's really beautiful about kind of doubling down in moments like this when we're feeling scared, and just seeing what kind of work can we do this week to actually make a difference.
No, it's fantastic point. And I'm showing the image of the White House right now, and
I don't
like,
You're not sharing
oh,
you gotta share your screen.
oh, is it not sharing?
And guys, I'll just do another plug if you're just joining us on TikTok. We are streaming over on Twitch. Same usernames for both of us. You can find us over there on Twitch.
What about now?
Yes, now I can.
All right,
Yeah,
sweet.
that's
Sorry
the
about that. Yeah, I mean, you see a bunch of
no, go for
different
it.
images here, but I think it's so symbolic. I mean, everyone is just talking about how symbolic this is. And again, like, I don't understand how, briefly, I don't understand how a president or an administration can unilaterally decide to fucking destroy like that much of the White House. Like, where, and if they can, why can't we get healthcare again unilaterally? Like, it's like we can do all these things unilaterally. This guy can literally bomb. He can shoot boats out of the Caribbean or something. You know, like unilaterally. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. He can run for a third term. Constitution be damned. You know what I'm saying? But like, we can't get the things that we want, like the things that we not even want anymore. It's like the things that we need. Every first world country, or every, modernized country has access to healthcare. Even the global south, a lot of those countries have access. So it's getting ridiculous. And I feel like the past year, more, and this is I'm without getting too diatribe on this. The thing that would put a bow on all this is that we are never going back to how things used to be, for better or for worse. Things might get exponentially better after this administration. They might get exponentially worse, but they will never be the same. And people have to internalize this, that now we are not battling to go back to what it was. There is no going back to what it was. Now the system is going to fundamentally shift in one of two directions, and we have to decide what direction it's going into. And that's why it's so scary when people get frozen into um when they get chilled into being passive, right? Or being scared. Because it's a common thing people are going through. And I feel like this is only the beginning, and we need to step up, because it symbolically, I mean, they're putting it in our face. I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious than these images, I think. Like, you don't need my words, you just need these images, right? With this big construction Volvo sitting in front of the East Wing. It's pretty insane.
You know, you said something there too that stuck out to me of like, this could get worse, but it could also get a lot better.
Yep.
And that's kind of what gives me hope is I already like this is maybe like my Delulu like taking over right now, but I have just like decided that it's going to be better. Like you said it could get exponentially worse. I was like, no, it's not. Like that's not even like part of my reality right now. Like I truly believe that like cuz to your point, we are one of the only countries that doesn't like the fact that we don't have healthcare in the way that we do is like ridiculous. The fact that people are going into medical debt and losing their homes because we don't pay for people's healthcare to survive is crazy. The fact that my husband has type 1 diabetes and if we suddenly lose access to insulin, he will be dead in a week. Like just he just will, right? And like that is the case for so many families and that is insane considering how much wealth we have here. I think people are waking once people wake up to that, there is no going back. And so that is the fight that I think I'm fighting and that's the fight you're fighting too, is to get people to wake up to the fact that the way we're living here isn't the greatest country in the world. The way that we're living here is shameful. This is not how any human being should treat each other. We should not have to resort to this type of like it's like barbaric. It's terrible. And so we do have the resources, the skills, we have everything we need to build a society that is healthier, that takes care of each other, and where we are not having to like do this kind of shit just to get by. And so I believe like and that's why I think candidates that these some of these progressive candidates like Zoran Mandani, like we're seeing him get attacked in the way he is because he is waking people up is because Zoran is out there every day and he is communicating crystal clear that we deserve access to a place to live. We deserve all of these things just by virtue of our humanity. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous to the status quo. And so I think that it is so that's like the going to be I think one of the most important like I think it's one of the most important challenges right now and it's something that motivates me a lot is just we have to keep focused on like a better world is possible and it is very achievable.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that it speaks a little bit to the conversations I've been getting into the past week as well, or the past few days, which some people are probably aware of those. I think it's we there's this fine line that we are gonna have to travel, and again, we can't make perfect the enemy of good or great, whatever that cliche line is. And I just, again, at the risk of, again, upsetting people, talking just a little bit about Graham Plattner here and his situation is what is making Graham Plattner so popular in Maine, and what is keeping him popular even through this tranche of crazy stuff that came out coincidentally simultaneously around Janet Mills, which that's a fact. You can't call me a propagandist for saying that. It happened to come out at the same time Janet Mills jumped into the race. Janet Mills, who will not condemn Israel, has condemned multiple divestment pushes in Maine from different cities, including Portland. She is not a fan of the pro-Palestinian lobby or the group or whatever, the protesters. She is taking, or has not spoken about taking, money from APAC, but she is on the track APAC list as danger. There is a graphic for her. And again, for people like us who are trying to vote for policies instead of saviors, we are very defensive right now in this state that we're in. We are uber defensive, right? Like I am watching Andrew Cuomo share racist AI Islamophobic memes like on the eve of the election in New York City. Ain't no one saying shit about that. Ain't no one talking about that. The talking heads are in my comments telling me to care about Blackwater. They don't find the irony that exists here for us who have been watching groups like Blackwater and the Middle East for a long time. So my thing is that we have to be defensive because of the past, and we are telling the establishment right now that we see you, that it's hard for us to trust you, that like even these receipts aren't enough to make us run from dignified policies. And that's what it's ultimately about. Run us someone out there, and people are going to say Jordan Wood, but everyone go look up Jordan Wood.
He's got a bunch of problematic stuff
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
yeah,
He's also
yeah.
not a perfect candidate.
Yeah, this is like the guy that you have been telling yourself you're not going to vote for anymore. That type of guy. You told yourself we want real candidates. We don't want lifelong political or like whatever. We don't want these guys. We want real guys. Go vote for Jordan Wood now is the position for that. And our position, or my position, I don't want to speak for you, Marissa. My position is let's wait and see. Let's let them talk about it. Let's let
Do you
Graham
want to
Plattner further talk about. Yeah, go ahead.
should we like get into this a little bit more formally if we're going to get
Sure.
into it? Do you want
Sure.
to talk a little bit about kind of where we're at? Like I just want to kind of recenter us for those that are watching and like kind of what the conversation looked like this weekend. So do you want to talk a little bit about maybe your experience this weekend and what you've been talking about on
Absolutely.
TikTok?
Absolutely. So I did a post because I am, for people that don't know, I am from New Hampshire. We're from, New Hampshire. I grew up in one of the most conservative parts of New Hampshire, Pelham, New Hampshire. As like we have Republican presidents come to Pelham, New Hampshire, my town of 15,000. They show up there for our old home day every election cycle because it is a very important place. Trump goes there, Mitt Romney went there. They all show up there. And Graham Plattner, listen, I grew up with people like Graham Plattner, like people who were working class white guys. Again, there isn't a lot of diversity from the town I'm from. Like even people don't truly understand that like segregation ended while like some of the Congress people in Congress were adults when segregation ended. Like it's not like this is like hundreds of years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like this is pretty recent history. And I have to remind people that like literally there's people that are making laws that are choosing rent laws for a whole generation of people right now, and they were alive when segregation was ended, which is fucking insane. But my whole thing is like, so I did this kind of like this think piece that is an opposite reaction. I feel like the reactionary nature of that tattoo showed me everything I needed to see. It was the same thing about the chorus, the liberal media thing. It's the same thing about like you see this pattern exist in all of these battle lines that are drawn between liberal establishment and progressives. And my message here is that I'm the only person that doesn't have a take. The take here is he is a 20-year super secret fascist because they found it, for those that don't know, Graham Plattner, it came out he's had some bad things drop about him, which are true things. I'm not saying they were untrue or regardless of whether you think they were hit pieces, they were true. People have to accept this, that he got a tattoo 20 years ago. It does have it is Nazi symbology. To me, it's not super obvious. When you see it, it has to be pointed out. People will argue that, which is okay. That's their opinion. And then he's had some Reddit posts come out too, which would not all they don't confirm the tattoo. to be honest. Like he says he's a
They're
communist.
completely, like,
Yeah.
antithesis messaging, yeah.
So like these two different things, while true, the tattoo and his Reddit post are conflicting ideologies. So he can't be a fascist and hate all white people because he thinks they're racists. He can't be a fascist and a communist. These are two different things, wildly different things, right? So the hoopla that is coming out again, it is the same voices, and sometimes I hate to say this, right? It's so hard. I don't know how to say this, to be honest, but the the
I gotta get a
message.
button that I can hit
Yeah,
when we
yeah, a
get
cancel
canceled.
button.
A
No,
cancel button,
it
yeah.
exists for me too. There is this thing that exists where if I talk about Gaza, the easiest thing to come at me to critique me on is my background, right? That is just low-hanging fruit for people to be like, "Hey, you're Persian. Don't all Middle Easterners hate Jewish people?" I mean, it's like this thing that you've heard perpetrated for so long. And it's the same thing, like I accept everyone's experiences and truths, right? Just like I hope people can experience my truth and my story, which is it's very hard for me to take you seriously on Blackwater charges when you are openly supporting administrations that are bombing people that look like me out of existence. It's it's I don't know why that's unreasonable to people. I don't know why
And you're
that makes
talking
me a.
about established I
Yeah,
just wanna make sure we're, like, super clear on that, and
absolutely.
that is you're talking about people who are supporting these establishment Democrats and are also coming to you and saying bringing up the Blackwater stuff, like, that's who you're talking about.
100%. 100%. And I am not coming at listen, again, it's a very interesting place to be in as like a Middle Eastern, being a Middle Easterner in America. It's because I say it in every video. If you have a darker skin tone than me, you think I'm a white Nazi, white supremacist, which I do. I have taken advantage of white privilege. I know I'm white passing. That's not something I've ever run away from. But then if you're a white boy from New Hampshire, I am not white. I am not white. Far from white.
Yeah.
So it is an interesting place to be in, and I am uber aware of other people's positions on this. I know it's very scary, but we are simultaneously asking to change the system. We are, and I'm not saying we should change it by by getting 20-year secret fascists into the group, but you, I'm just trying to educate people to understand that a lot of these orchestrated messages are coming from their allies. They're not coming from their ideological enemies. They're coming from their allies that are afraid of losing power. And these lines are drawn everywhere. The way we shit on Andrew Cuomo because we think he's standing in front of our Democratic candidate, like that's what's happening in a lot of these places too. And again, the asymmetry here is unbelievable because Andrew Cuomo can say whatever the hell he wants about Muslim people and gets nothing. He gets celebrated almost. But yeah, so just the I know I've been talking forever on this. Just the video
No.
was, in my opinion, I thought it was a fair video. I made one mistake in the video, or it should be a retraction. I said he was informed. Obviously, he knew about the tattoo beforehand. That has come out now. So, I mean, that's a retraction. I'm not saying that he was informed, but it doesn't change anything that I'm saying because I'm voting for policies, and a tattoo is not enough. And it's just laughable for me to think a tattoo is more dangerous than the liquefaction of children. It's not the same. I'm being gaslit constantly on this. Blackwater, and then if you want to pivot to Blackwater, again, it's just Middle Easterners are not a monolith, and we have opinions on this. I find it very interesting when a white person is telling me, again, interesting, when they're telling me that I should care about Blackwater more than the actual genocide that is happening currently, right now, right in front of us, right now, live streamed. And it makes me think less of that argument. It makes me more paranoid. It makes me more willing to consider Graham Plattner if I'm gonna put a bow on it.
Yeah, I think I think all of that makes sense. Um, and I completely agree with a lot of it, and specifically, like, I've been wrestling with the idea that all these people who are so immediately writing him off and admonishing anybody who doesn't also write him off, and saying that they're terrible people, um, that in general, those painting with broad brushes in that way, I find really toxic and one of the sort of most unhelpful thing in politics and especially in the internet. But he, the idea that he is like you're saying, like has secretly held these views of being a Nazi while we also have this track record of him for years and years and years. We have this sort of digital track record of how he's believed and how his beliefs have evolved and changed over time. And so it seems to me that it's very obvious that he is not a secret Nazi. I think should he have where now here's where you and I kind of diverge a little bit, only in the areas that we're focusing on, right? And for me, I put out a video on this because specifically I was very upset about the fact that there was some dishonesty in the timeline around his understanding of the tattoo, right? And so he had came out initially and said, "Hey, I didn't even know that this was had any sort of other meaning. I just got this tattoo because it was on the wall." And then it comes out later that there were some like Reddit comments that illustrated that he did know what it meant. And that to me made me really upset because I was like, that is such a small thing. And if you had just been honest about it's not a small thing, but in the big picture of this conversation, if you had just been direct and just said that like explain the situation in a way that was realistic and honest, I think it would have been a different example. And I think now a lot of folks are feeling a little bit burned. But I oh, thanks for pulling that up. But so I didn't like the mistruth. Mistruth isn't a word. Lie. I didn't like the lie. I felt like it was a lie. I didn't like it. Um, that being said, somebody in the comments said this as well, like the primary is a long way away, right? And so I think they are throwing to your point, the establishment is throwing everything they have at him right now, trying to pull anything out that they can. And again, maybe this is also like I'm from Maine. I grew up with people my whole life that have so I know people like Graham Plattner, and I can absolutely see how people like that might brush something like this off, which is terrible. I can see how people like this would say, okay, like whatever, it has a connection to something else, but that's not what I meant. I can see somebody making that argument, and I can see how you could go your whole, you could have this tattoo for so long without making personally thinking it's a big deal. Do I agree with that? No, I think that's wrong. I think that's shitty. I think that's terrible. But I think this is one of those situations that there is so much nuance in it. And anybody who is trying to flatten the nuance out of this situation, I'm skeptical of them. If you're somebody who's trying to make this as simple as, "Oh, well, look at all the lefties who want to support a Nazi." It's like, do you want everyone to turn their brain off? Are you encouraging everyone to like stop processing any nuance and just like that's where I start to question people. So I agree I think we're very much on the same page on a lot of this stuff. I think like it sucked. Some of those posts sucked on Reddit. Some of the stuff he said, I don't agree with it. Some of the stuff he said on Reddit, I do absolutely agree with. Like he said some stuff on Reddit that I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I agree with that. But like again, we talked about this a lot last week. There's just we're gonna have to deal with imperfect candidates. And then I say things like that, and I hear already people in the comments being like, well, imperfect candidates, and they're gonna say it's like they love Nazis. And it's just to me, it's like we have to be able to have these conversations and we have to be able to like look at things with nuance. Otherwise, this is how we ended up in this situation by like just equating Democrats equal good and Republicans equal bad. Like we have to be better than that. And we can't be like blue. That's like blue MAGA shit, right? That I feel like to me is trying to scare people out of having a complex opinion, which I think we need to be able to have. And seeing Hans in the comments saying, "I'm so tired." I am too. I like this whole
Exhausted.
thing. I posted one video about it on Saturday morning, and then I was like, I can't fucking engage in this topic anymore because the discourse made me want to die. And then I saw that you had posted 30 videos, and I wanted to die on your behalf. I was so tired. Just look, I didn't watch them. I didn't watch them all because it's a lot. But I understand your point, and I understand why it activated something so seriously in you, especially with the background that you have. And I also like, I don't want you to undermine the importance of that point of view of somebody who is of Middle Eastern descent. that living in New Hampshire that is predominantly white. And like, yes, you say you're white passing in some ways, but also I wouldn't probably describe you that way. And I think that like your life has been impacted by your experience, and I think that that's important. So that was the last thing I wanted to say. Is just I think that is of value, and you should feel comfortable talking about that as much as you want because it's
I
real.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And to be fair, people in my life have been very supportive of my views, especially people I know in real life, you know, and I know it's easy to assume uh things. And I that doesn't mean again because I do come from a very like progressive, I mean, not always, but like my family is we're a very progressive family. We have very, you know, very leftist you know, views and policies, and my life really truly has been like trying to think outside of my own shoes and how other people, marginalized people, have been affected in this country. I realize that it's not, I'm never trying to compare my experience either with anyone else's. I understand how, if you're living somewhere outside of New England, say you're in California somewhere and you're seeing this, it comes off as a bunch of white people defending a Nazi, right? I mean, it's just this is what it comes. New England, not exactly a scion of inclusion over the last 100 years. Has not been the most inclusive place. We get that. I'm a sports fan. It is very obvious that African American athletes do not want to play here outside of the cold weather. It is known within athletic circles that Boston is not the most race friendly place to play in. Anyone who wants to deny that is in their feelings. Okay, that's the truth. I'm from here. I know that. Okay. Um, so I think that like these nuances are important, and I love that. I think, Marissa, how you said it is, I wish I didn't make my 30 videos, and I wish I heard that sentence beforehand, which is like all I want is not to flatten the nuance. That is like so perfectly said, dude. I don't even know how else I could have said it, which is, I showed you that video from the creator Gracie, who has very nuanced views too on TikTok. I see people on both sides hating on her, loving her, whatever. That's usually a good sign to me. And she had a video where she talked about, listen, I am never going to vote for a Nazi tattoo, but if you are one of those people out there that is shitting on populist policies, even though they were so popular in Maine, and you're using this opportunity to shit on those policies, be better. And that's my whole thing. I am not a Graham Plattner stan. I am a good policy stan. Not going to vote for blue no matter who, like you guys have been telling us to do for the past 10 years. It's ridiculous, right, liberals? It sounds ridiculous now. Vote blue no matter who. I'm glad we could finally fucking agree on something. Okay, so let me just put that out to the ether. I will never vote blue no matter who because I think it's fucking stupid. And you guys should think it's stupid too. Great. Now that we can come to this conclusion, I will vote for the policies. And I will not vote for a standing Nazi with good policies. Let me make that clear too, so people can't clip that. I will vote for the person who is promising all of us, not just white people, not just black people, not just Middle Easterners, all of us, better material conditions. And if that package comes with a little
Absolutely.
bit of imperfection, comes a little bit of chip in the armor, comes a little bit of missing gleam, I'm okay with that. I'm going to take that, and I need more. I need more. I'm not saying that I'm going to vote for, or I would vote for Graham Plattner if I was in Maine. I'm not saying he is the savior for all of us. I'm not saying he's a terrible person. I'm saying I need more. I need more than a tattoo, boys and girls. I need more than a couple Reddit posts and a tattoo to make me step off this momentum. And again, you said it, I said it. When you're a fascist, when you're a Nazi, it's a belief system. Have you ever tried to get someone who is a Christian, or like a really big time Muslim or Christian who really believes in God, try to get them to pretend they don't believe in God? It's a belief system. You are literally going against your beliefs. If fascism doesn't think, if you think you are the super race, you are not going to start pretending to like people of the other race. And if you are, it's not going to last long. The truth will come out. It is part of who you are. It's not just like, oh, I put the tattoo on, I'm that now. Like it is, there's a lived experience here that it will become obvious over time if it's true.
I just you bringing that up reminded me of a New Hampshire comparison that I'd like to make, and then well, there's a couple of comments I want to get to in TikTok as well. But I just was laughing because a lot of folks watching on TikTok at least are in New Hampshire, and I saw a video from John Kuiper who's running for governor, and it made me laugh because there's been apparently these rumors about John Kuiper that he is a secret libertarian that have been bubbling up for a long time. He is a secret free stater, and it speaks to what you were just saying, is that this idea that these people running for office have the capacity to like do this whole charade and pretend that their worldview is something that is completely different. Like John Kuiper is like his policies, whatever you think about him, are completely different than free state policies, and they have been now for a long time. He has a track record of that, but yet these rumors still persist in the New Hampshire circles, and I just find it such a interesting, weird little like thought experiment that like why are people so worried about this? I know people bring up John Fetterman. I know people, but like that is a perfect example of somebody who had like a medical crisis that likely caused a complete change in personality. So we're seeing this kind of bubble up of like, well, they're not who they say they are, and it seems like it really happens with working class candidates. And I just wonder. It's just a little but I also wanted to quickly just there's a couple of comments in the chat that I wanted to talk to. Somebody
Mhm.
when I was talking about nuance didn't, and I don't know if they're still here or not, but I just wanted to they said the gaslighting of calling it nuance, relying about a Nazi tattoo, or blaming women for SA. I talked about the SA stuff a lot last week. I'll repeat my opinion on that briefly, which is that his opinion, what he shared about essentially, if I remember correctly, Graham Plattner's comments were something along the lines of it was sort of a victim blaming. You know, don't dress like that, or don't drink too much, or something along those lines. Um, and those comments were from 2018, when unfortunately, almost I don't know, I don't want to generalize. A lot of men held those opinions in 2018. A lot of men during the Me Too era would say things often online and to my face that women d they would victim blame in exactly the same way that he did. I don't say that to say, "Cool, that was great." Obviously, that's terrible, and I'm grateful that many men, especially men on the left, or men who try to have good relationships with women and understand experiences that are different to their own, have evolved, and so I have no reason to believe that he hasn't evolved in that space. So, yes, that is one of those comments I did not like, but, I give him the opportunity to prove otherwise. And then, lying about the Nazi like, we just talked about that at length. So, I think the lying piece was a big piece for me. I did a whole TikTok video on that. That was where I clocked out of this conversation, right? That's where I checked out of this discourse, because I personally was like, all right, well, fuck you. If you're going to lie, like I'm not going to fucking carry water for you. And then the reason that we're talking about this, I know it's not New Hampshire. A lot of my followers are in Maine. I have a lot of followers all over New England, and Maine and New Hampshire are like, especially where I live, I'm on the seacoast. It's like we're literally like cousins. And so and I'm from Maine originally, so I also have sort of an emotional attachment to this stuff. So that's why I think it's important. That's why I'm talking about it. But
If I can just
you know,
add
but then
too,
yeah, go
just
ahead.
to piggyback on that, is that again, I've said it in a few videos, and we are ultra aware of our message, right, Marissa? Me and you, we always talk about what we're messaging, and we're making sure we are doing the right, because we are living in New Hampshire. And again, my opinion on Graham Plattner doesn't matter to the voters of Graham Plattner, but Graham Plattner's story on a macro level is happening all around the country. Not the tattoo, but this battle line of progressives and establishment. This salvo on Graham Plattner is only the beginning. And it's the beginning for all of us. You guys know who I'm working for. If you think that these same forces aren't going to come for her, aren't going to come for the people that are going up against Chris Pappas, are going up against the Shaheens, if you don't think that some of this stuff, John Kuiper, for example, if you don't think that this is gonna start happening to all of these candidates, and again, you're gonna have to use your sense and common sense, and everyone is, to not fall for the same liberal bullshit that has been destroying us for so long has been beating us down into obedience. And I'm not saying anyone is doing that. I just want to reiterate why, because I'm ultra aware. I don't want to talk. I came from a world of talking about national stuff all the time when I lived in New Hampshire, right? But what good am I doing? I do believe, though, that the greater point that I'm just trying to relay to like my allies is that buckle up the next year. There's going to be a lot of things coming out about people that we want to vote for. And the Dems sense this, the establishment senses this, and they will throw whatever they can up against the wall. Do I believe this is the last of what we're going to hear about Graham Plattner? No, fuck no. I honestly don't. I think there's going to be some other stuff out there that's going to come out about him because it doesn't matter who you are. 20 years of life, that's not all we get of your resume. We're either going to hear he is a much better person than we think, or he is a much worse person than we think. And I think all this stuff is being planned in the background. So that's the only reason. And I think it's important just for the country to be aware of this. Leftists or progressives all around the country to be aware of the tactics that are going to be used against their candidates.
Yeah, Andrew has a good comment. Dems and Republicans will work together against progressives and true leftists every time. And I think that that's kind of the crux of what we're trying to get at, both of us, from both different perspectives, is like, we like exactly what you were just saying. This is going to impact us here in New Hampshire, but it's going to affect progressive races all over the country. And we're going to continue to see this come out. And a lot of it's going to be real. And like, again, like people were still, there's still some conversations about the essay stuff happening in the chat. And I agree. Like, I think that's terrible. Like, trust me, like I am a victim of SA. I advocate on behalf of this stuff a lot. Like, this is very near and dear to my heart. I am not writing this off. That being said, I also am trying to like live in the present reality of the moment that we're in, which is we have to be able to see some nuance, right? Because we have previously lived in the world where we were only able to get these cookie cutter candidates because they've been groomed their entire life to be president, right? And we are now living in a world where we're trying to push for people on the left are trying to push for more working class candidates. And so with that is going to come some colorful pasts, right? I'm sorry, but like find me 10 men who didn't say something like that in 2018. Like I'm sorry. So many men thought like that in 2018 and I'm so glad to see people evolve, but it is crazy to think that you're going to be able to find a candidate, a white man who lives in rural Maine that didn't think some terrible shit at some time. I'm sorry, but like there's a lot of us have shit in our closet. People in the comments are talking about deconstructing too. Like I was a Republican until 2015, right? It wasn't until literally I was watching Trump win the primaries that I was like, "Oh fuck, these people are not on my side." It took that for me to see it. So we all have been on this journey of like opening our eyes, and it doesn't mean I'm proud of anything that I said before, but we have to like allow each other room to prove that we can grow. And I think that I'm not saying vote for Graham Plattner. I'm not saying vote for anybody. I'm just saying we have to be prepared for this stuff to continue to come up because it's going to continue to come up. And we have to be able to trust our judgment and we have to be able to like really examine stuff and not just get scared immediately because that is exactly what the establishment folks want us to do. That's what the Democratic establishment folks want us to do. And that is what the Republicans want us to do because that is how we continue to stay in this cycle. And like I said at the beginning, my hope, I'm almost done, is my hope is that we are going to be in a better world after this. We have to go through this moment so that we can have a world where people can afford housing and people can afford medical care for their families and can afford to feed their families. And in order to do that, we need to have radically progressive candidates. And some of them are going to say things that suck. And I'm preparing myself for that,
Yeah.
right? I'm preparing myself for the fact that I'm going to be having to sorry, this is the last thing. Like I spun out, sorry, this is my TikTok is now giving me a little I spun out a little bit on Saturday morning when I saw the Graham Plattner live because I was just like, fuck me, man. I've been like out here talking about this shit and now this man's making me look like a fucking idiot. But like that's just what's going to happen. And we all have to kind of get comfortable with that because it's going to continue to happen. Go ahead. I'm done
It's
for now.
no, you're good. You could go forever. I mean, I think that's the life of having a take. I mean, really be and like we could have just waited. His lie sucks. It does. Like because I mean, it just They say it's something about misinformation, right? Which is like you can use misinformation in positive ways, but the thing that always happens is that there's trust lost. So you might short term get something out of your misinformation, but long term there's loss of trust. So even if it's a good thing, it's loss of trust. He's lost that trust, and I reiterate to people that it's not us that he has to convince. It's Mainers that he has to convince, and we know that full well. And I don't I know it's a whole other situation when men are bringing up essay texts to women, right? As if like the men care all of a sudden more than you did about those essay texts, which
That
is
shit
laughable.
fucking gets me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It gets me is because it's like they wanna fucking gotcha me, and I'm like, "What, you think I didn't think about this? Like, fuck off." Sorry. Whew.
No, no, I set you up. That's what I'm talking. I because it is the same thing, Marissa. It's not the same thing, but when people are talking to me about Blackwater, it's like they don't see like the six eyes I'm staring back at them. Like it's like, okay, brother, like now you care about people that look like me. Okay, let me just tuck that back into the file cabinet. And these are things we have to balance. We have to balance these things. Of course, I'm aware of that. I'm also aware of what the people in power and in our party are currently doing to people that look like me. So, yes, I am stuck and I made a video on this. We are stuck in a position where I know I'm not saying there are no other candidates. That's ultimately our position, right? That like there's a long campaign and people will come out and leave. Maybe there's more people coming in more, but ultimately the oh shit, did I just okay, no, I'm back. Okay. Ultimately, the position here is that he like what do you prioritize more for what your morality is? Like people arguing to me about their moral codes and shit, fuck off, first of all. Okay. I don't even take anyone saying like I vote with my morality. Okay, bro. So you've probably never voted in your goddamn life in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like you are one of those non-voters your whole life because you vote your morality. It fits in your morality to send soldiers to the US campuses to beat up student protesters, and it's in your morality to drop bombs in Gaza. Those are non-authoritarian things, right? Huge contrast between authoritarianism. But it's another thing where you want to convince me that words, tattoos, texts could ever in a million years be worse than you one time voting to give money to a country that is dropping bombs on fucking nurseries. It's not the same. There aren't enough swastika tattoos that you could plaster on your face that would be more disqualifying to me than you just one time voting to starve a child. One is a symbol of Nazism, one is actual Nazism. I want people to remember that if anything, if they remember anything about this video, is that one is a photo. It's not backed by any evidence, it is a picture. You don't have evidence of this guy throwing people into gas chambers or hating Jews. You have a single piece of ink. You are basing 20 years of fucking ideology on this piece of ink. But killing children is not a deal breaker for you. And that's where I ultimately fall, that it's all a farce. It is virtue signaling to the nth degree. And again, I'm not saying there are people out there that don't care about both. There are. But that's not the majority here. The majority here called us grandstanders on Gaza in 2024, got absolutely clobbered in that fucking election, and are going back to that same well right now with this messaging. Fascism scary, fascism bad, except this time there are literal openly outward fascists that own every lever of power. I think it's categorically insane. It actually borderline disgusting when people like virtue signal like that. But I have to be careful because then a whole group of PR people are going to come out of nowhere and start calling me anti-Semitic. Like it's just, this is the world we live in. Like I'm the one apparently that's unreasonable with my takes. Like I'm the guy that's the Nazi defender here, which is the funniest part of the whole thing for me. Like it's just hilarious.
I think there's definitely an element of this that I think is absolutely crazy making because it's just it is like while we are watching this news continue to unfold and we're watching ceasefire deals getting ceasefires getting violated immediately. Like this is still very much happening. This is a very real thing that is happening today. And our Democratic representatives are enabling it today here in New Hampshire. All of our federal delegation, Maggie Hassan, Jean Shaheen, Maggie Goodlander, Chris Pappas, they have all accepted massive amounts of money from APAC. They have all continued to vote to continue to arm Israel while this is happening. It feels extremely disingenuous to have people who are actively supporting those people now taking this kind of a stand. And it all kind of feels very aligned. That being said, I also I wanna, like, echo again that, like, we're not saying that anyone should have Nazi tattoos or be saying that it's fine or that it's not a good like, we are just trying to call out this hypocrisy that people here who we have elected are continuing this literal Holocaust with our money, with our tax money. So while people here can't afford money, can't afford food, we're taking away SNAP benefits, where people can't afford their medical care, we are continuing to provide that for other countries, and we are continuing to provide we are arming these other countries, we are continuing to like further this. And so it is extra it makes you feel kind of insane because it's like what are we talking about? Like it is one of those moments. Somebody in the comments asked what episode of Handmaid's Tale are we living, and it absolutely does. It feels like that sometimes. And so it's yeah, it's a brutal moment. Anything else on kind of the Plattner stuff, Aria, that you wanted
No,
before we
I
kind of
have
move
said
on?
more than I need to say about Graham Plattner for multiple lifetimes. Okay, so the very last thing I want to say is like I get it. Like you, I get it. I'm not telling you to vote who to vote for. Everyone vote for whoever you want. Use your own North Star, but just beware. Just beware. You've seen this movie before. You're smarter than that, libs. You know, I know you guys have been yearning for better candidates. Stop being so reactionary. And again, the last thing is I would start questioning liberal creators that are steering you in the wrong direction consistently as if they're getting paid for it, and wonder if maybe that's what's happening. How can you be wrong about everything all the time? Yeah, it's
Stop
hard.
following Aaron Parnas. Just everyone stop following Aaron Parnas right now.
Oh my
Like
god, it's terrible.
we do have to be better about our we have to be better about our like media diet for lack of a better word because I've actually been thinking about this a lot even in the context of what we're talking about with Gaza. Like that was another big kind of evolution moment for me in my own personal understanding of the world around me was what was it? May of 2024 when all of the college protests started heating up and the encampment started. Watching all of that unfold and watching how the media covered it was one of those moments for me where I realized, "Oh, the media isn't actually telling the truth." And that's a really hard thing to think when I was a PR and journalism major. I love the media. I like studied like I'm a news person. I love the and so I never want to be somebody that's like don't believe the news. But that was one of those moments where what I was seeing unfold in reality did not match what I was seeing play out on the television and what I was seeing reported to me. And seeing how disparate those realities were huge. And so I think we need to all be conscious of like where we're getting our information from. And I'm not saying like don't pay attention to legacy media. I think it's important, but I think it's like all part of of we need a well-rounded media diet because we can't just get information from one place. Because I think what I've learned, I think other people have known for a long time, is that every source has a bias. And look at where money is coming from, and the money is impacting everything. So yeah, same with all these candidates, with everything happening, I think we have to be getting as much kind of information as we can. But it makes it hard. We live in this post-truth era where there's no single like source of truth that we can all rely on. And yeah, follow the money ultimately. That's kind of where we're at. Um, and that's yeah, AP. I mean, yeah, I think there's AP is good. I think there's a like I don't know. I don't want to get it. I may be open to can of worms that I'm not perfectly I can't adequately represent, but I think it's just something that important for us all to kind of think about.
I think and just really quick, this guy B Drago, who again, he has been in my comments on multiple videos. His message here has evolved over the past 24 hours. Drago, okay, he has been telling me that this is the worst human being on earth for 24 hours. He's been telling me this is the worst human being on earth. We shouldn't be voting for him. And today, he's saying that we shouldn't lock into him because he won't win. Right? We need more progressive, so we should get rid of Graham Plattner. And I'm telling you, if you're a liberal, if you are someone that doesn't like Graham Plattner, you want other people to run against Graham Plattner, then your focus needs to be on other candidates. He's calling me, he says I'm lying, which is, again, this is the liberal establishment voice that I'm a liar here, but I'm not making a claim. They're claiming that Graham Plattner is a 20-year Nazi and the worst person ever. That's why you shouldn't vote for him. I'm telling you, you should vote for whoever you want based on your North Star. If you think he is a 20-year Nazi, you shouldn't vote for him. it's like, I don't know why that goes without saying. But if you're sitting here and saying you shouldn't be talking about Graham Plattner because he's not going to win, that is telling you everything you need to know about the messaging against Graham Plattner. They're scared of him, not because of his tattoo, because he's going to change the status quo. They can call me a liar as much as they want, but I put videos out with my face behind it. He just comments on them. So, again, message, vote for who you want, listen to who you want. Don't discount anyone without seeing their policies and what they're going to provide for you and what they're going to do. Be very aware of where these messages come from. And if you want better progressive candidates, go find them, have them enter the race, and we can hear from them as well. The reason why progressive policies are popular in Maine is because of Graham Plattner. Period. Full stop. You can say whatever the fuck you want about him, but when you are telling me that progressives are banking on Graham Plattner to drop out because that's their only chance, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about. You're not our ally here. So I would behoove people not to listen to you. Okay? So vote for who you want to vote for, who's going to make your material lives better. Don't get fear-mongered by a 20-year tattoo. Fascists are not scared of being fascist. They don't hide it. His life will come out. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what B Drago says to you. You know what I'm saying? He's got to prove it to you. And that's what I'm saying. So good luck out there, Maine. We're looking closely at Maine here in New Hampshire. We have our own races that we are going to be running progressives against, and hopefully none of them have Nazi tattoos, but irrelevant. They have the same policies. It's the same policies.
Don't even put that into the universe, Aria.
It's such
God.
it's such psychopathy, Marissa. And if we don't laugh at it, we normalize it. If we don't call it out, we normalize it. It's bullshit. We are fighting here. We are fighting for better lives here. We have raked ourselves over the fucking coals to vote blue no matter who. And all of a sudden, the vote blue no matter who has a problem with that. We see you, Drago. We see you. You don't trick me. You might trick your liberal fucking cult, but I hope they're paying you for these takes because you're doing it for free. All right, buddy? Get me off of this shit, man. Fuck.
Oh.
What else we got to talk about?
Oh my God. See, this is what killed. This is tough, man. All right.
Is the world. You have to be more. It is. And I find it easier when I'm morally clear on this. Ha ha ha. He thinks it's funny because this is what he is. He's a troll.
Yeah.
It's a troll. These people have nothing but hot air and trolling, dude. And that is, who else do you know that is full of hot air and trolling? Okay. I mean, thanks, B Drago, for ripping the mask right
All right,
off.
you wanna switch to, oops, hold on. You wanna switch to why, I'm getting ripped apart today on TikTok?
Yeah. Yeah, let's put the focus on you. Let's put the focus on
I'm
the
done.
the
I'm
white
so
woman.
fucking sick. I am so fucking sick. Yeah, let's can we bring it back to me, guys? We haven't been talking about me for like 20 minutes and I like really need some attention. Oh my god. No, I'm like so sick of talking about the Grand Platinum stuff because like ultimately like my last thought on it is like tattoo sucks. Sucks that he lied. I'm pissed because I'm really like he's somebody I was excited about. That being said, I think it's been a good exercise for all of us in learning how we can process this information and because it's going to happen again. It's not just a Grand Platinum thing. This is going to continue to happen and we all have to kind of figure out how we're going to handle these situations as they come up. So I'll
Absolutely.
share let me share my screen and we can talk about why I've been in the comments fighting with trolls all morning.
Tell me if you're able to share your like own
Yeah, let
TikTok
me
because
see
I
if I can.
I hope it doesn't kick you out. Oh, it kicked
Let's
you out.
see.
No, it didn't. No, you're still there. Never mind. It kicked me out. Why did it kick
Yeah,
me out?
can you see my
If
screen?
you work in
Yeah, yeah.
corporate America
We're
in
good.
November of
Okay.
2025,
And
you're
hold on,
if
I'm just
you
gonna
work in
right. For people who are watching on TikTok, we are on Twitch as well if you want to see the media stuff you're sharing. Or you could just go look at not my most recent, but my second most recent
if
video.
you work in corporate America in November of 2025, your ass needs to be donating like way more of your paycheck directly to your local food bank or mutual aid. Like so much more of your paycheck. Like what are you doing? What are you saving for right
The
now? Like
comments that
chill
just
the fuck
popped up.
out. People can't eat. If you work in corporate America in November of 2025,
Okay.
In real
So if you
time,
want to
a
watch this,
comment popped up in real time. How much are you donating, Marissa?
it's like
if
so
you
funny.
work
And
in
I've been
corporate
getting this
America in
also. Hold on, let me pause this and stop echoing. But yeah, the comments have just been like yeah, I'm actually not gonna scroll through them right now. But the comments have been so wrong button.
Here you go.
There we go. So I mentioned this at the beginning if anybody was on. The context of that video was, yeah, if you want to find us on Twitch, just look up same username. We're both live on Twitch as
Yeah.
well. Um, so I posted that yesterday. Literally, like I had food poisoning. That's why I look like that. It's just like, of course, it's always the videos where you're like, I look like shit that they end up popping off. It's like crap. Um, but I just was like thinking about I was thinking about the SNAP stuff and I was thinking about how I work in corporate America. I'm surrounded by people all the time that have exactly they have more than they need. They are saving for a home renovation or they're saving for a nicer car or they're like whatever the case may be, but they are like, "Oh, I don't have enough, I don't have enough." Like we all right now almost so many of us can find room in our budgets to be donating money to mutual aid right now and to donating money to food pantries. I learned on TikTok that if you donate, which so don't quote me on it because I just learned it on TikTok, but if you donate money to a food pantry, that's actually like the best thing to do because they can like 5x the value of your money by buying in bulk and they've got all these their ability they're able to make your money go much further. Anyway, I posted that thinking like, "Oh yeah, I'll just like piss off some of the rich people." No, it went to the wrong. I think I just like went to the entirely wrong side of TikTok. But basically, yeah, it was a ton of people who are very defensive about how they want to save for their family and they want to save for their kids' futures. And I think the reason it bummed me out was because it was so different from like what I'm used to kind of hearing from people, which is like I've curated my little like FYP to be full of people who are talking about all the cool things that they're doing. There's so many videos of people like building little free pantries on at the end of their driveways this weekend. I've been seeing so many people talking about the ways that they're getting involved and the ways that they're stretching money further to make these big donations to their local food pantries. And so to see how many people were immediately just like, how dare you even ask me to take care of somebody else? Uh, it like made me really sad just to be reminded how many people are in that headspace, because basically the moral of what I was trying to get across is if you are somebody like me who, and like that's exactly like I'm coming from the place of I am somebody who has a corporate job. My husband has a corporate job. We can put food on the table, and I think people like me have a responsibility to be taking any money that they have that is above what they need to get by. I think that money needs to be going to the community right now, because like we were talking about earlier, I don't think we're in normal times anymore. I don't think, like, yeah, I want to save for my kids college, but realistically, like, I think that the fucking like American dollar is about to collapse. So I don't, you're blurred out. I don't know if this is me or
Oh,
you, Aria, but you're looking like all distorted all of a
oh,
sudden.
am I weird? Yeah, I'm
But
here still. I can hear you.
but all that to say, I just am getting like chewed apart in that one, and I just wanted to like take the opportunity, and I'll have to refine the message. But I think something you and I both have talked about a lot is like part of the reasons videos will go viral is because you are choosing language that is intentionally inflammatory, right? And we put stuff out there intentionally that is going to elicit a reaction. And so some of this is absolutely we bring it upon ourselves. But I just would like to remind folks that if you are in a position where even if you are not somebody who views yourself as wealthy or rich or upper, if you view yourself as like we're really modest, we've got what we need to get by, but you have some wiggle room, just take 20 bucks and deposit it every month. Just set up an auto payment, an auto donation, set up whatever you can, 20, 40, 100 bucks, whatever you can do. Please, like, now is the moment to reevaluate your personal finances, because we are no longer, I think, in a space where conventional wisdom around financial planning holds up. I think it is ridiculous that people are like maxing out their 401ks right now when people around us can't even pay their rent. Like, we need to take care of each other. That's all we have. And so that's it. So I will try to learn from your lesson and not do 30 reply videos to individual comments and make myself want to like light myself on fire. But that's kind of where I've been this morning.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I feel like. Can you hear me? By the way, I know I'm blurry
I
on
can hear
Twitch.
you. Does Aria look well, yeah, you
I
look
look
normal on
blurry to
TikTok,
my
but not
own screen too, which is weird. But I'm fine here. But as long as you guys
okay.
can hear me, that's all that matters. I expect to get some of the pushback that I'm getting because it is oh shoot, am I still falling apart here? Audio's still good, right? You guys will tell me if the audio is bad.
Yeah, audio's fine.
Okay.
I'll tell you.
Um my thing is that there ultimately has to be like these are not the same things. Our videos are not the same things. You know, like your video is talking about being charitable. My video is talking about like using your brain to think a little bit more about a scary thing. Um and what furthermore is that you are coming from that corporate background, right? You're the one that's like it's not like you're telling people when you're not part of it. You are actively a part of it. And I find the part of your story the most interesting is that people think that life is normal after this period of time. Like they're like, I'm gonna save up money for my family and my kids' education. Like, yo, they are going after universities. What's that?
The thing about you I find the most interesting, and now I don't know.
What
What
about
was the
now?
most interesting? Oh, there you are. That was really big suspense. I was
Yeah,
excited.
I'm so sorry. I guess my internet's
Like,
going through some.
finally, we're making it about
Yeah,
me.
my internet's going through some headaches here. But no, you're the most interesting thing is that like, um, you heard the charitable part. What I was saying, how like you're just talking about being
Mhm.
charitable and part of.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I think that people think that their future is going to be the same. Like their future, like when they talk
Nah.
about their future, when they're like, "Oh, I want to save up for my kids' college education. I want to save." Like, lady, like, do you see what they're doing to colleges right now? Like, are you watching what they're doing to Harvard and Columbia and like all the top American universities all like capitulating right now? Like, what do you think you're gonna learn at Harvard in a few years? You think they're gonna tell you that like the KKK was actually the more moral that South never lost? That's gonna be the new American curriculum the way this is going right now, right? So I don't know what kind of educational future you're looking at for your kids. And I just think that's the part of it that really shakes me to my core, is that people are still, they're looking down the barrel of a gun, right? And I think that barrel is the Snap. I think it's Snap. I honestly think when Snap, after 3, 4, 5 days of no Snap fund coming through accounts, you're going to start seeing some heavy pressure on the institutions that already have a lot of pressure on. And I keep telling people, like, whatever happens, um, is going to be different. We're all pushing for a better future. We are, but it's never going to be the same again. The system is never,
Mhm.
is going to be fundamentally different after, whether it's for better or for worse. And I think people still haven't gotten that. They're like, and I don't know why they would want to, right? Like, what do you want to go back to exactly? Back to when we were just boiling frogs. They were doing similar things, not all the same things, but there's still fundamental issues that we were dealing with, like affordability and like not using our money to go to wars and like, healthcare. These things are still not being dealt with. Maybe incremental, like very tiny percentile changes to keep us from ripping billionaires out of their houses, you know, but like not enough to change our fundamental nature. And sometimes I wonder that if we do, if you, it's a thought experiment. If you look at who we are, let's say a year or two after, or 20 years after MAGA, this administration's gone, and let's pretend that it's a positive outlook. Like real positive things happen. Like the pendulum of justice swings the other way, and we are super left, and we are like helping everyone, and we're getting rid of poverty, et cetera, et cetera. Do you think having Trump, these people are going to get so mad at me? I can already. Do you think that Trump's presidency sparked that or not? Like, don't you need something to spark you? If you're content and not truly unhappy, do you get up and move? Or do you get up when you are angry, when you are upset, when you are motivated, right? And that's the question I want to posit to people, that like it's not over. It's not over. Like, we can still turn this into something amazing, but what that requires is to know that it's never going to go back to what it is, because to what it was, because what it was not great either. It's worse now,
Yeah.
but back then wasn't great either. And this is an opportunity for us to change it fundamentally and not go back to what we were.
If Andrew says if Harris won, we'd have 4 years of brunch and feeling safe. Like that's I think, and some of us would, right? People who look like me would, but a lot of people wouldn't. And I feel like that's like the fundamental disconnect, and this connects to what we were talking about with Graham Plattner and like establishment stuff too, is like there's people who want to live in this world of like everything's the same, we want to go back to how things were, I want things to just be normal, and are not ready to accept the reality that like things are different now and we shouldn't want to go back because things weren't good when like a Democrat was president, like Joe Biden was president when we started putting, blowing tear gas at college students. You know what I mean? Like this stuff has been happening under Democratic presidents. This is not a good versus bad thing. The Democrats have always been doing shitty things as well. And so one of the things I wanted to mention too while we're talking, let me see if I can share my screen, is I've started seeing more folks talking about another economic blackout, which I think personally is like the best, most urgent path forward, right? I think all my personal belief is that all of this will end, or all of this will be forced to change very quickly as soon as we decide to actually unite and stop giving these people our money, right? Is because this is not purely a political problem. This is very interwoven into how our entire economy works. And so we have to stop giving these people our money. And so this is also kind of what I'm talking about when I'm talking to people about like really looking at your finances, looking at where your money is going, and giving what you can to mutual aid, because we don't need to be spending nearly as much money as we are, right? I think a lot of it, just I'll just speak for myself, but like I really started feeling this. And again, I'm behind a lot of people. So I know a lot of people already know this and this is not new, right? But I think early this year was the time when this messaging really started to hit with me of like, we have to just stop spending money. And that was when I canceled my Amazon. That's when I stopped shopping at big box stores. And as somebody who I probably had an Amazon package on my doorstep, I've got a toddler, right? I had an Amazon package on my doorstep probably 5 days out of the week last year. And this year, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've gone into a big box store other than a grocery store. We've been doing everything we can to avoid spending money in those types of places. And um, you kind of were talking about this earlier, Aria, the power that like doing something small can have to change how you think about things, right? And so like even just taking that level of control has helped motivate me and fuel my fire to be like, yeah, fuck that. I'm not giving these people any of my, I'm getting rid of, I am like slashing expenditures anywhere I can because these are the corporations that are like ruining our lives in complicity with our government. And so we have to stop spending. So I think everything that we can do, anything you can do. It doesn't have to be a boycott list. I think people get sometimes hung up on the boycott list. What I'm talking about is a lifestyle change. Like we have to really look at every dollar that we're spending and try to spend as much of it as possible locally if we can. And then just trying to keep as much money as we can in our communities. But yeah, just important. I just wanted to raise awareness that people are starting to talk about uh, doing a coordinated economic blackout at the end of November, spending as little as possible, and that's my PSI.
Excuse me. No, I really appreciate you bringing this up because I totally forgot to bring this up too. I just seen a couple recent posts about this, and we've talked about it a lot. And I think this is truly our weapon in America. The way America is set up right now, more so than, again, no kings is great. And I know there were a lot of conversations that were around no kings between people who thought it was like, hey, it's a parade, it's not a protest, versus it's an actual protest. And my whole take on that is there needs to be organizers there that know how to bridge, right? The bridge between the parade and the material disruption. These are two different things that need to be bridged. This is a bridge. This is a bridge to material disruption. This is not a parade. This is not performative if you believe that. I'm not saying that's what I believe. I'm saying that if you believe that a parade is or if you believe a protest is performative and you can do more, this is not performative. This is very real. This requires you to change, like Marissa said, your lifestyle. It's not something that you can just, for this, sure, you can just stop for Black Friday, but they don't want you to not spend during Black Friday, so just so you can spend more the week before Black Friday. You know what I'm saying? Or like the week after, to buy all your food all together after Black Friday. That doesn't really help, because what happens is everyone does that, and all of a sudden it balances out the boycott, right? And they'll tell you clearly, and if you go look up, if you go deeper, this guy who set up this all up and like this organization, they're very clear on on how you can get around that, like the kind of the crash spending before and after any kind of economic boycott. But as Americans, I have a video up, maybe I'll repost it at some point, telling people how much how many Americans you would need to stop spending to get like a certain amount of money removed from the American GDP. And it's really not as much as you think it is. It's not. They notice. And again, these guys, if you believe in oligarchs like running Russia, these are our oligarchs in America. The CEOs of these companies, they're the oligarchs. That's why they get these invites to the big massive ballroom that he's building. Meta, Palantir, Oracle, all the worst companies on earth, their CEOs, those are American oligarchs. You need to start looking at them that way. And how do you go after American oligarchs? This. You and again, it'll feel good. I'm sure it felt good for you, Marissa, when you canceled your Disney. I mean, I canceled my Disney. I had a Disney account that I barely watched Disney anyway, but I just had it. I canceled it after the Kimmel thing. And a lot of people canceled after the Kimmel thing. And it had a huge hit on ABC or whatever. And this makes me feel really good about what I did. I feel like in the littlest way or in the most major way, I filled a pothole. There was a pothole
Mhm.
that I just filled and I'm now more motivated to fill more potholes, to make more changes, fundamental changes, because when you do good, you feel good. There is science behind that. That's not just magic. Like when you see it happening, that kind of carrot on a stick, like that helps people. Some people do really good when they have a carrot on their stick and a north star, and they get short term rewards for their behavior. That's going to make you continue doing that behavior.
Mhm.
Just get you guys in a little psychology course over here. Some positive reinforcement.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple other things too that just while we're on the topic that were like or relatively easy things that I did that helped me mentally as well and sort of felt like I'm detangling from this oligarch system. I just want to get as much of my money as possible out of these people's hands, right? And so I switched all my money over to a federal credit union or a local credit union. I don't know if that's whatever. So all my money is now out of I was with Chase and I am no longer. And so go to a local credit union. And then also just start spending with cash, right? So if you are, we're a lot of talk about about like small businesses in the chat. I think supporting small businesses is great. Support them with cash too. It then you are not no because when you anytime you run that credit card, even if it's with a small business, that 3% or whatever it is going back to the big banks. So just get into the habit of taking 2 minutes out of your day once a week or whatever it is to go to the drive-through ATM and just get a bunch of cash for the week and use that for what you spend. That has also been huge for me. And then lastly, I was just going to point out that Justin's in the chat. If only there was a Democrat on the national stage shouting for this on every news channel. Oh well. Yeah, that's like it's why aren't Democrats talking about this, right? I did want to point out that at the No Kings rally in Chicago, the Chicago mayor did call for an economic blackout or a general strike. General strike, I think
Yep.
specifically,
General
but
strike. Yep.
sort of similar idea. And that was huge. And guess what? That wasn't highly reported on. Nobody wanted to report on that. No one wanted to talk about that because the news, and this is what I mean by like having some mistrust of mainstream media, is because mainstream media doesn't want to support that message. They don't want to spread that message because that impacts them as well. And so the people that are the Rupert Murdochs and the people at the top that are making those decisions don't want us to be getting that message either. So it's incumbent upon us to be spreading this stuff, unfortunately, and elevating any candidates who are sticking their neck out to amplify this messaging, because that's another reason why people are going to be coming after these progressive candidates, is because they are not good for the oligarchy.
Yep. And it's capitalism. You're seeing capitalism will always turn to, police state fascism before it turns to any kind of anything that will kill its profits, right? And again, just a reminder, I know I am preaching to the choir with a lot of people in these chats, but media is all private, it's all for profit. They have shareholders too that they are so like this idea that a for profit news agency is going to blow up a guy who's talking about blacking out the system is insane. So we'll never see that. And even TikTok, the blackout the system movement, you couldn't put blackout the system as a hashtag for a while, and I know it changed with a little bit of pressure on TikTok, but before, if you put blackout the system, it almost censored it. Like it wouldn't give you like other search terms. And again, you were talking about small businesses. I know there are small business owners like our family out there that want to be part of this too, and that are going to be suffering. That might suffer during a blackout Black Friday thing, where like my family depends on Black Friday sales. We're okay with this because we are doing our own things. I know my dad has pretty much taken over for a little bit, just so I can do some more political stuff here with my time. But one thing that we have agreed, an idea I gave him was, like give people a discount when they're paying with cash. Promote them to come and pay you with cash. That percentage that we are having to pay in credit card, tell them that if they come and pay the cash, we're going to eat that. There's no credit card fee. So we're going to give you that in discount. in the cash. That means they help us.
Love that.
They don't feel like they can still, if they have to do some shopping in that time, bare minimum, whatever, they want to come to us. Because people, we deal with electronics, so like you need cell phones in this world. Like there's some things you just need, and I know there's some things we need to like be able to work around and make exceptions for. And there are little things like that you can do, like when you pay with cash at a small business, and other small business owners can do that too. That's something that we are definitely going to do for the foreseeable future, not even through Black Friday, which is like you pay with cash. We don't have to deal with the credit card company, and you don't either. The people that are raking us every transaction. I think it's something like 3 point. There's like a ridiculous amount of daily fees that Visa and MasterCard make alone. That you would just, if you just stopped using a credit card for a day, they would freak the fuck out. Like over there at Visa and MasterCard. Like they would go into some emergency meetings about, like, they'll notice, is the point I'm trying to make ultimately.
Mhm. It's a lot of these, like, little actions that we can take, I think, start to build up over time, and it gives me that's, like, what fuels my hate fire to keep going, is just to find as many ways to, like, detangle our lives from this system that, like, owns us, right? The way, like, all of this shit owns every element of our lives, and trying to get ourselves out of it as much as possible. Um, yeah, so that's I'm hopeful that we can see a lot of energy around this. We're about a month out. It starts November 25th. And so start thinking now about like planning for that and what you can do to kind of participate that in that whatever level you can. Anytime I post about this shit on social media, it's the same thing that I was dealing with today where there'll be hundreds of people in the comments being like, "Well, I can't do it because of X, Y, and Z reasons." Okay, we're all going to have reasons that every element of this type of a of activism won't work for everybody. Find a way that you can make it work for yourself. But also think this is just going to get harder, right? This stuff is just going to get worse and it's just going to get harder. And if we are not like, I think if we all come, if we could get even what 5% of the country, 3% of the country to commit to doing this, I think shit would fall apart overnight, right? Like you're saying, it's like there is such a the margin to cause real change is actually very slim. We just need to get more people on board. And so we have to start talking about this stuff in our normal life, and we have to start like getting comfortable having these conversations with people who are like, I don't want to talk about politics. This isn't politics. This is like so much bigger than politics. And so I think we have now about a month to start getting the word out about this as much as we can. I think it's incumbent upon all of us.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the most important like financial, economic holiday time of year, obviously for many, many different reasons. I feel like it is a symbol. It is a symbol of the American corporate kind of Wall Street driven life that we have lived, where again, people have died on Black Friday trying to shop. The fact that people have died shopping on Black Friday is the fact that has happened is fucking insane. That like people are in line overnight to spend their money. And I think there is something fundamentally wrong with that, like on a fundamental basis. Not that I would never spend a night to get something like concert tickets or something like crazy that I wanted that I'm obsessed with. I get it. That's like a human experience, but it's every Black Friday. It's over basic electronics like TVs and stuff, and it's just so dystopian. We have bread lines in America simultaneously, and we're talking about SNAP being cut, and we're talking about charity being the way that we save people. And then you look over at Walmart, and there's people in lawn chairs waiting overnight to do Black Friday shopping, just to possibly get trampled by 1,000 people that are running into the store simultaneously. And I just think that sucks. And it makes me feel so shitty about like American culture, and now whatever American culture is, spending money for and getting nothing in return
It's
for it.
consumerism.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I just I feel like I'm so motivated. I'm telling the people around me without a doubt. I've never been a big fan of like material gift giving. I've always been that type of guy of like, like give me a money budget. If we can send our monies to a charity of our choice, like I'm okay with that because I've never liked, I mean, I'm not just not, I'm not judging anyone. I'm just not like a material, I don't have material things. I lose them when I get them. It's like the reason. That's the main reason. So I tell people, and I'm telling people this Christmas, especially because if you get me a gift and I'm not getting you a gift, I feel fucking terrible. So I say, listen, this is my charity. This is my Palestinian family. There's a Palestinian family that I do donate to whenever I can. I have my own things, and I tell people, listen, if you want to get me something material, you want to pay. The best gift you can give me is this. Seriously. Seriously, I'm
Mhm.
not being performative. It would make me feel so great during the holidays if you were gonna spend money on me to do it for this. And it feels good when it happens. And I tell them, what's your favorite charity? I'll do this, and and like
Mm.
their eyes light up, and it's one of those things where people don't consider not making again, when you say these things, it makes people feel like you're being condescending or like talking down to them, like, oh, I'm not. It's just something, it's just one little tool that I can use to make me feel more part of the movement, more part of everyone's struggle without actually physically being there. And I know that is a struggle for a lot of people, but that is one thing that I try to do whenever I can, and it is helpful during the
Yeah.
holidays.
You're talking about Black Friday, and it got me thinking about, like, how, again, all of this stuff is everything that we're talking about is connected in that, like, it's not just by accident that people are out there in the Walmart, like, beating each other up to get the TV, right? It's because the oligarchs want us to be doing that. They have built our culture around consumerism, and so that we have all bought into this lie that our lives become better when we can consume content that they make for us, and we can buy more of the stuff that they put on the shelves in the store, and that is how we improve our lives, when the reality is we improve our lives by being able to, like, be in the same room with people we care about and, like, look at trees, right? Like, that's the but that they don't make money off of that. So it's like unwinding our own internalized consumerism is such an important part of this, because to be able to participate in this kind of stuff fully, we have to start unpacking that, and we have to start asking ourselves, why do I need these things, and is this sort of part of the programming that has been put into my brain as part of this American exceptionalism. Is it's all kind of tied into the same thing. So I think the freeing ourselves from that is important, not only for this current moment, but is also necessary for us to build this better future that we're talking about. Because in this better future that we're talking about, we are not going to have access to, like, goods and stuff in the same way, but that's okay, at least in my mind, in my fantasy version of the future where we all have food and housing and things like that. But I think it's an important step, and so I hope that, people, we saw huge. I mean, look at the impact of the Target boycotts, right? Like, they had the Target boycotts have had a massive impact on their business, and so if we can do that on a larger scale, I think we can see real action. I think we saw it with Disney too. We saw folks really, nice. We saw folks really be able to take action. So we're coming up on 2 o'clock, and I'm not going late. I'm tired. I'm like pooped. I am
Yeah,
impressed that we did almost two
I
hours.
got shit to
But
do
what else
too
you got on your
for
mind?
I got shit to do too for my own campaign. I got some work to do this week. For Paige Boschman, I got to throw that out there. Like if you guys are looking for progressive candidates, we have some great candidates in New well, and it's an exciting time. And again, I just want to remind people too, the November blackout, so important. Whatever you can do, they always get more information about this too, because you don't have to. There are ways to get involved with this without having to do every single day, without having to do 100% of what they're asking you. There are little things you can do to get involved to help. And the other thing, again, that just not about Graham Plattner, but about the messaging of progressives versus liberals. Reminder: the machine is not happy with progressives, the Democratic machine. This is going to happen. They're going to get smeared all over the country from here until election day. So I'm not telling you to vote for anyone. Just beware that like the people that are orchestrating a lot of these, not the legitimate people that you know that might have actual reservations about what's going on and have fears, but people that seem to be performative on this probably are. Trust your sense and don't let that make you run away from policies that will positively impact your life. I'm not telling you to vote for a straight fascist or a boogeyman or Jason Voorhees because he's going to give you free healthcare. You know what I'm saying? That's not what I'm saying. So just use your brain, be aware. I want all of us to not get tricked like we have been getting tricked in the past. And I think it's baby steps, right? We're learning still how this works. And it's uncomfortable, but growth is uncomfortable.
It is. That's true. My God. I always say I feel like my brain is like exploding that just from the amount of like new information it's trying to process.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before I let you go, I'm gonna plug my shit real quick.
Yes.
I'm gonna plug my shit, baby. I've got a busy week with so I host a podcast called One Quick Thing where we help people learn how to get more engaged with their communities. And we're gonna have a show this week on Tuesday at Auspicious Brew in Dover. Would love to see you. All the info is in my bio. You can find it there. And we're also going to be in Manchester. We're doing our first show outside of Dover. So we're going to be in Manchester on Sunday morning and with a group called Queer Elective and talking about community stuff. It's going to be great. Again, look in my bio for information. Would love to see you guys in person in real life. So that's what I got going on this week. How's your week look? And we'll be back here. We'll be back here on Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah, no, my week looks pretty similar to yours. I'll probably see you there tomorrow too. Maybe go live, maybe show the people what's going on. That's where we met officially, I think, is the first time we actually like
Yeah.
crossed paths was at one of your first
Yep.
shows, and that's where I met Paige Boschman. That's where I met Bree, who's in the chat for the first time. I met Sinahan the first time. I met all you guys there at the first time. So I anytime I get a chance, I go back there, and I will be there tomorrow for sure.
Yes. We bring out the NH talk. All right, guys. I think that's it. We'll see you. We'll be back. We'll do this. We're trying to do this like 12 to 2-ish. So we're going to do this Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the plan. So as long
Absolutely.
as people keep coming. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Love you guys. Bye.
Bye. There's so many places.
I didn't hear what you said. I just heard there's so many places right before I logged out. Hey mom, I'm on another website. I'll show you what website we're on. It's oh shit, I'm still streaming. Oh my god, I'm still streaming. Yeah, I'm on a conversation with my mom. Oh no, you can hear me. Oh my god. All right, bye guys. I love you. Yeah. All right, Aloe. Thank you. I'll talk to you guys. Bye.